My name's Trevor Thompson. I'm the QEII National Trust rep for Wairarapa-Wellington, and this is my little blurb to help people identify and to propagate some of our New Zealand native mistletoes. Alepis Flavida is the rarest mistletoe species that we have in the Lower North Island. We only have about 15 plants in total, and most of those now are made up of plants that we've actually artificially propagated into two new populations, one here at Riversong and one at Fincham Reserve. The original source population out at Ngahapi has got probably about half a dozen plants left in it now. Alepis Flavida has red and yellow flowers and this bright red succulent fruit. It's a very viable seed, even though it's a very small population of these plants and likely to be very inbred. They're still very viable, and they're quite a bit easier than the other two, Paraxylon tetrapetula and Kalenzoi species, to propagate. This other Alepis Flavida, just to illustrate the root system that they have. So here's the original attachment point, and they put these roots along, then they tap in, a big attachment here, another attachment there, and then they've gone the opposite direction as well. And they can get little plantlets pop out from that root system, although this particular one hasn't. Okay, we're just going to talk briefly about the small plantlet of Alepis Flavida that's growing on this black beech. And this one is actually 2 years old, and it is planted on a branch as opposed to Paraxylon tetrapetula, where we plant that predominantly on a trunk. And if you have a look at this lovely little plantlet, it's looking good and got lots of true leaves and growing as it should do. So we're just going to harvest a couple of ripe fruits on this Alepis Flavida. One here, and one right here. So these guys are a bit like gold. Okay, so we're just going to demonstrate how to plant Alepis Flavida. So we get our fruit, get a nice healthy fruit, give it a squeeze, make it pop out just like that. So they'll go dark green when now they're exposed to the light. So we put that in our mouths, give it a bit of a clean off. Any pulp that's still on that seed has to be removed. This is very sweet, so you can eat that. Okay, so at this point, it's like that. This actually has a little tail on one end of the seed, and it's that little tail that we have to drape over the branch collar. I'm actually going to put it on this guy here, and all I do is actually wipe that tail over the collar of that branch. Now, I can do that, but I tend to twist it around now. The idea is that it's on the top of that branchlet where there's a lot of nutrients going up and down that branch, but the bark is actually quite thin. Now what's going to happen next is that seed over the course of the next 24, 36 hours, that tail will dry and hold it into place initially, but after that the seed is going to exude glue. It will glue itself in position. And then out the opposite end of the seed, the far end, the end that's not touching the plant, not touching the host tree, will come a little shoot and it will go right around, and then it will go back into that glue and then into the host tree xylem layer. And that's when things will really start to happen, as in getting cotyledons pop out, true leaves, and establishing on the plant itself.